Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about my creek fishing tackle box, what I use, what my setups are. Without further ado, let's get into it. For creek fishing, I don't carry a lot of stuff. Just like this little one box. I carry a plier. Typically, I hook it around my, if I'm wearing jeans, I will hook it around my belt. And, I just carry a rod and I'll just walk down to a creek and do some fishing. I wouldn't maybe I would have a backpack, but typically with creeks, I hike a lot and packing light is a great idea. So then, burn out your energy as much. So first of all, let's talk about the rods we're gonna use. Typically, I will use a light action or medium light action. I wouldn't go past the medium just because creek fishing, a lot of water fishing is only like maybe 2 feet deep and you need a lot of sensitivity with your rod. Spinning is my personal favorite, but I understand that with a lot of like smaller creeks, you could get away with a spin cast, basically like these kiddie reels. You have a button, press down and you cast. But because a lot of creeks I'm fishing, including Oswego Creek, could get up to, like 5 to 8 feet deep. So I would personally use like a spinning so I could get a lot more casting distance and so on. So for this rod, I have written up here, I don't know if you guys can see this. This is like a 1/8 ounce Panford Martin. I will get on talking about spinners later. But spinners is one of my most favorite lures to use when we talk about creek fishing, because in creeks it's first of all most likely if you're fishing a creek versus like rushing water, and spinners are very good for that because it's gonna keep spinning your blade. Second of all, in rocky situations, spinners are also pretty good for that. And third of all, just in general, especially in my area in Oregon, we have a lot of smallmouth and also a lot of panfish, and we like literally any fish will buy a spinner. Without further ado, I want to talk about my tackle box now. So this is what's the tackle box looking like, and we'll work from our bottom to the top, starting with our terminal tackle. Right here, typically I would pack a variety of weights, whether it be egg weights. These are perfect for Carolina rigs. If I'm using a worm and I'm throwing on Carolina rig, these weights are very helpful. Both these like more fatter bullets or like these skinny bullets, I typically don't have preferences. Both work pretty well. Of course, some split shots in there, various size hooks. Typically for smaller ones, I would go with size 8. These are going to be for like smaller bluegills. Larger ones for bass, if you want to rig a big chunk of worm on it, or for perch, I will use a size 2, all straight shanks hooks. This is what a size 2 would look like in comparison to, let's say, a size 8. This is like a size 6, but this is like an Aberdeen hook. Pretty much just all straight shank, size 2, size 6, and then, this would be a size 8. All of these I would pack. Then we switch to some jig heads. 1/16, 1/8, 1/32. Typically, depending on the situation, I like jig heads a lot because you could tie a worm to the end of it, or you could throw it on with one of the tubes or grubs I have up here. Bobbers, I typically use 2 types. Just old traditional white and red bobbers, and these like slip-ons, which are much more convenient because you have this stopper. So basically, if you have it anywhere on your line, you can stop it for whatever depth. Because creeks, especially the creeks I've fished in, they changing depth a lot. Sometimes they're like 5 feet, sometimes they're like 2 feet, sometimes they're like 10 feet, even if water is high. So these bobbers with that slip-on are very convenient. Moving back here, I typically bring a couple of these like bigger 4-aught, 2-aught circle hooks, just in case if I catch some bait. And some of the creeks where they feed into a river, they're pretty deep and pretty big, and there's some maybe catfishing there, there's maybe some larger even bassing there that would pick up a little piece of cut bait. So typically bring one of these bigger hooks in there. Now I just threw this crankbait in here. It's supposed to belong to upper here, but I didn't have any space. Let's go above here. Typically for jigs, I carry tubes, and I carry these. Oh, well, I guess these both are tubes, but also like grub tails like these. 1/32 ounce typically works for very, very smaller fish, like 5-inch ish, maybe a little bit bigger, 6-7 inch. Anything bigger than that, you will probably want to use a jig head. And these are ready for bluegills because bluegills have smaller mouths. Fish like crappie and perch, they all have like very big mouths. So they would actually buy these 1/16 and 1/32 more willingly than these smaller ones. For jigs, I also typically bring a swim jig, just because, you know, sometimes especially like in the midstream of a creek versus like these deeper pools, which potentially has a lot of vegetation and weed, and it's somewhat like a smaller pond, and like these like just swim jigs work pretty well between the grass. Sometimes there's some largies in there. Typically I think I've had smallies, but largies will eat this very willingly. And because of this, I carry like these smaller swim baits also. Works pretty well. And these are supposed to be, including all of these. I didn't take these out of the package yet, but these are all like steelhead hooks. And of course, if you have steelhead in a creek, that's amazing. You can use this for them. But personally, steelhead, small, especially wild trout, they'd go for these too. And just generally, if there's panfish in a creek, like crappie and perch, they'd all go for these like hair jigs. They're amazing. I love them. And I got a couple of different colors right here. I got another pink. This one's like a black and green color. This is like a red and black color. You know, I just got a variety of colors right here. I'm working up, of course, just in case, you know, we ran into like these pond situations. Of course, I have a couple like stickworms. These are Gary Yamatotos, I think. Personally, I would like a bigger range of color selection, but for the sake of video, I just threw like one single color in there. And I'll have some like, oh, this one's actually not supposed to be in here, but you know, these worm hooks, get some of these. Okay, so these are the $1.25, like very cheap hard baits you get at Walmart. I think they're made by Creme. And these are like a hit and miss. I think these are 3 models they make. I think they make about 5 in total. There's like 2 different ones I haven't bought. This one works pretty well. This crawdad, especially in a creek, this color works well, and this like design works well. It swims. I have never, like almost never had a problem with it. This 50-50. I have to tune it sometimes, but 50-50, it works. It gives a good wobble. It does what a lipless does. For, you know, especially like these, like, again, a pond situation, if the creek, you know, widens up, becomes like a bigger pond-ish, and there's vegetation in there, this pulls weed tops very well. I like these. Works very well. These both for bass, panfish, you know. But this one's like absolute piece of crap. It has never swam straight, ever. Like, ever, every single time I fish with it, it never swims straight. It doesn't matter how much I tune it. I don't know if I just got defect or whatever, but this just doesn't work at all. And again, going back, you know, typically I would do shallow divers, but you know, sometimes water's a little bit deep. Sometimes like these pockets reach 8 to 10 feet deep in like these bigger creeks, and especially in winter when there's a lot of rainfall. So I would go with a deep diver. Most summertime, shallow divers work very well. And if I want panfish, especially, or like there's only smaller bass in the area, I would go with these smaller lures. Then I would go with these spinners. As I've shown you on my rod, I have a Pan from Martin rigged up, but Meps, rooster tails, I love them all. Typically, I wouldn't go over 1/4 just because creek fish are typically small. 1/4 is about the biggest you'll need to catch like bigger crappies and bigger, like decent size, like 1 poundish largies, or even smallies. Typically, I would only use 1/16 or even 1/32 for panfish because they really don't have that much a big mouth, and because of its treble, it's pretty hard for them to bite it. And I happen to lose my 1/8 and 1/32, so I need to restock on my rooster tails, but that's what I'm gonna do. And also, I would use a couple of like drop shot in case if like I want to rig this, say on a bigger, you know, like size 2 hook. As a wacky rig, I could drop shot the rig, and man, I could fish it in like, you know, size, maybe I would say like 5 feet to 8 feet deep water. Pretty effective for both largemouth and smallmouth. And that's about it in terms of my creek fishing tackle box. Thanks for watching today. Please subscribe, like, and share. Fish the Freshwater out.